morning, everybody, and welcome to another informative video from A4S Law. My name is Lizette, and with me today is Christine. Hi, Christine. How are you doing?
I am fine, Lizette. How are you?
I'm very fine as well.
I know.
So yeah.
I know it's later for you, so it's understandable.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. So today we're gonna talk about our second part. Remember last time we said we were gonna continue with my 3 interesting questions. So today I'm, from a consumer point of view, asking Christine to give us some advice on the following topics. Firstly, our theme would be continuing going on, how do you know if you're a victim of auto fraud? And that will also be one of my first questions. So the question in general would be, what are my options if I was a victim of auto fraud?
Okay. So sometimes people don't know when they've been deceived or somebody has cheated them in some way. Often in the financing side, there are things that are represented or concealed. But, when you buy a car and it actually doesn't work, if the person knew about it, that we would call that, fraudulent type of conduct. If they concealed it by masking it somehow with, doing some kind of quick fix, and actually there was a larger problem. So there are, in most states, there are consumer protection statutes related to new car and used car warranties, and that allow people for a certain period to seek protection under those laws. And many of the laws, not all of them, but allow for fee shifting. So like if you hire an attorney, you can sue for recovery of your attorney's fees. And if you can show that what the seller knew, and sometimes we can get this information from title histories from DMV, from a third party like Carfax, you can find out if they, like, for example, if you ask them, is this car a safe car? Or was it in an accident? And like Carfax, that they show you says it wasn't, but then you go and pull your own Carfax and you find out, hey, actually it wasn't an accident and they told me it wasn't. So these are the types of fraud, not disclosing if it has a major problem, with the transmission, something related to safety or that costs a lot, usually will get you protections. In Arizona, they have a 15-day 500-mile for used cars, and the time period gets extended if the repair problem shows up and in that period. So you're really, when someone comes to us, we're really conscious of when they purchased it, when they reported it, and if it was ever fixed. And you have generally under that particular law, you have to give the dealer an opportunity, but doesn't mean unlimited, which they sometimes seem to be. So there's auto fraud is just deception, essentially, in some form of the transaction on either the financing side or just the selling side and the advertising about a vehicle.
Okay. So what are my options when, like, if I was a victim of that? So where do I go from there? Obviously you would contact maybe a lawyer or an attorney, but it's a stressful situation. I mean, what's the next steps?
So documenting things is really what people should be doing, like the attempts to call, attempts to communicate. These days, text messaging is usually, car dealers and their representatives like the text message to reach out and, invite people to come in, inform, and, communicating that way so that you have a record, and, questioning and asking, for them to take the car back, and, documenting their refusal. And then getting in touch and, in the internet, Q&As like this, YouTube, and there's a lot of information on the internet right now related to at the FTC website, Fair Trade Commission, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. They focus on these types of things, and even the Attorney General's office for most states will have like a consumer fraud type of public information. Now you can file complaints with the Attorney General in the states, and each state does different things, in terms of how they process that complaint. Here in Arizona, They will contact the other side about the complaint that was filed and ask them to respond. But there's
Awesome.
not a lot of teeth in that unless they get a lot of complaints, and then that may prompt the Attorney General to investigate. Contacting a lawyer, there is attorneys that focus on auto fraud, and in terms of the National Association of Consumer Advocates. I'm part of that group, and I have colleagues almost in every state that focus on this type of work.
That's amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much for that information. Are there any specific car models that are more likely to be targeted by auto fraudsters?
Not necessarily models, but cars that have been in floods, in areas where there has been natural disasters, and then get shipped to other states. That's something to be aware of. If you can look up the title history, if a car was, registered originally in Florida or Texas, maybe where there was some major, natural disaster, those are the types of cars, sometimes they get freshened up, but then they have still a lot of, unseen types of problems. Usually, it's the bad practices and things. It's usually dealer focused. There's certain dealers that are going to try to, commit certain things because they've been able to do that without being held accountable. That's what I've seen in my, history of working in this area. Particular models, the NHTSA puts out recall information practically every day on probably on every single model. Even the expensive models, there are recall and safety issues that get issued by the National Highway. I'm not going to get that right, but it's NHSTA.gov. And you can go there and put in your model or put in your VIN number to see if there's been a recall. And consumers file complaints there too. So even before recalls get actually issued, because that takes some time, other consumers who are maybe have the same problem you do, and then sometimes that helps you think, okay, this is a real problem. Somebody else, even if one person, because usually if only 2 or 3, there's usually probably 20 or 30 other people that have the same problem. And then especially with newer cars, people aren't reporting them until, maybe after 6 months of having the vehicle and having had a problem that hasn't gotten resolved. So, so it's not just one particular model necessarily, but all the models may, especially when people are paying lots of money, and cars are a huge, investment for everyone, and they're important to getting kids to school, getting to work, medical needs, all of that. So knowing exactly what you're getting before you buy it is really important. So asking those questions like before, and if it's a used car, getting the title history to find out who's owned it, can be provide some helpful information. And I recommend, and with the benefit of having the internet now, there's no reason why you shouldn't be getting a Carfax, and I don't want to say Carfax, I want to say title history report, because some people will believe that the Carfax has all the information in its history, and it often doesn't. I can tell you that insurance companies, they report accidents later, and sometimes the dealers know this, and they know that, they bought this vehicle for $2,000, but they're trying to sell it for 10, knowing that it's a problem, right? And they know that, whatever problem that hasn't been reported, so they can use the title history report to say, oh, well, see, it's a clean, what they often call a clean Carfax, but when it actually probably has, because they bought it, for example, at a salvage yard where insurance companies dump cars that have been totaled. So it's trying to get information about the vehicle, and not necessarily believing everything and not getting emotionally invested. And that's what, we do sometimes when we buy anything, actually.
That is so true. I actually love what we are doing here, because I am also in the process of maybe buying not a new car, a second-hand car. So this is helpful, because now I'm going to ask the car dealer, okay, I want the title history. So this is really helpful.
And you might be able to get it yourself, Lizette, as long as you get the vehicle identification number. I mean, I don't know if it's the same in your country, but the vehicle identification number is key to getting, getting some information. I mean, sometimes the vehicle identification number might be wrong. They might have been taken from another car. And the only way to know
Oh.
that is to, Google it. Sometimes we just Google the vehicle identification number, and sometimes we find pictures of where it was in an accident. Because
Oh,
it's
yeah.
at an auction location, and they've taken pictures when it was in disrepair. So a lot can be found out on the internet.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Very helpful there. Okay, and my last question. So, what are the consequences of being caught committing auto fraud?
Well, I mean, the government authorities, Department of Justice and things, you can be criminally convicted if, depending on the type of crime that's been committed. There's civil liability, even for folks that are selling their own cars. So, you can expose yourself to liability where, you're not just going to be paying for the amount that was paid to you. You might end up having to pay for attorney's fees and costs for, making some kind of misrepresentation or if it can be proven that you've been deceptive. So yeah, and sometimes in some states under these consumer fraud statutes, it's not just the amount of the vehicle. It could be double the amount of the vehicle or triple the amount of the vehicle, if it's shown that, there was some willful or intentional conduct behind the deception.
Oh, okay, yeah, definitely not something anybody wants to do, but
No.
just a piece of helpful information nevertheless. Christine, I want to thank you for today and for giving us such helpful advice. I believe this is going to help me personally, and I think a lot of other people as well. And I'm definitely going to show this to all my friends as well. And people, please, if you like this video, please like and share and subscribe to our channel. And if you think this might be helpful for someone else, please share the video, and let's get people aware of what their rights are and how they can go about and, not become a victim of auto fraud. Thank you so much.
Thank
Christine,
you,
have
Lizette.
a wonderful day.
You do the same. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Bye. Okay, I think that went well.
Okay, good. I'm gonna have to run, Lizette, because I have to go. I have to run out of the office. But thank you so much for putting this together and your work on the SEO thing. I think you're heading down the right path. Thank you so much, and
Thank you
take
so
care.
much.
All the very best to your family. I know this is
Thank
a
you so
difficult
much.
time. I wish you all the very best. I'll be thinking
I
of you.
really appreciate it. Thank you. And I have one last question. Monday is my day to be at my child's play. So I don't know if I will be able to make stand up.
No,
on Monday.
I didn't expect you to. Don't worry about it. Don't. It's not necessary. Yeah.
Okay. So Monday, is it okay if I take that 2
Yes.
hours off just to view the play?
That's fine. That's fine, Lizette. Please
Okay.
be well and don't worry.
Okay, but I will chat to you soon and have a great day.
Thank you very much. You take care. Best to your family.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.